Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This is probably going to be the last update on this tree until the autumn basically, because I still need to wire this section, but I don't want to do it now while the tree's in like active growth, because the branches will swell during this time and the wire could bite in. Now it could be biting in other places, but I'm prepared to put up with that to get the shape that I want. Now what I'm going to do here is even out the growth energy level of the whole tree. This is a whole tree mechanism, not a branch, it's the whole tree. At the moment, feed and water are coming in and giving a surge of growth to the whole tree. Energy levels vary from branch to branch and even from twig to twig at this point in time. And you judge it by looking at the candles. You look at the size and strength of the candles to indicate a lot of energy is getting to that point or not a lot is getting to that point. And you look at the number of candles per twig to actually say, is that twig being overexerted? You know, is there too much energy going into that one twig? By reducing it back, you push the energy elsewhere. So it's a balancing act. And I've got to do the whole tree. That's going to get tedious. So what I thought I'd do, if I can get this camera in the right place, because every time I look at the camera to see if it's in the right place, I get in the way. So what I'm going to do is that. Now in theory that is looking at that one branch. I've chosen that branch because there's a variety of things to talk about. When I've done this branch, I will finish filming, because the rest of the tree is just a repeat of the same process. So looking at this branch, which we did wire, so we've got a relatively flat pad here with cobwebs on. We've also got a glass of wine down here because it is tea time now, and I should be getting my tea now. And I'm not, I'm doing this. Basically I wouldn't have time to do it tomorrow, and I don't want to leave too big a gap on my new bonsai channel with nothing going on. So, right, looking at this branch, how much can I move it before it goes off camera? It goes that way. Now I can actually move this a fair bit. Right, so I'm going to start right here. This little branch here is weak. It has 3 new growths and they're weak. They're all going to stay exactly as they are. The one next to it has a growth here which is a back bud, and a growth at the end and another little one at the end. Now I want the back bud to grow, so I'm going to reduce the energy from the end of the branch. I'm doing this with my fingers because if I do it with the scissors I will get, I don't know what it is, but if you cut pine candles, which means with scissors you're going to nip some of the needles, they will go brown and they look awful. If you do it with your fingernails they don't. Right, so over the back here we have another one that's got some back budding and not much else, so I'm going to leave that. Right round the back here we have one that didn't get wired. It escaped, and it does need pulling in. It has no back budding, but it has quite a strong candle on it. Now I'm going to pinch the tip, just the tip. The idea being that it will register the damage. Now where I pinch a candle, buds will form, but what I'm hoping for is buds farther back as well as those. Because the buds where you pinch a candle will be relatively small this year, but over the winter they will swell a bit. Next year they will grow. They will be the new candles next year. Right, so coming round a bit, we've got a strong candle here on a growth that is a single growth with no back budding, and this little shoot here, it's like the cobwebs are annoying me, is drawing sap, which means it's possibly taking it away from elsewhere. So I'm going to reduce that one by half. We'll now get some new buds here and possibly push some back budding. The one next to it is in exactly the same boat. no back budding on that shoot, and quite a strong growth. So we'll take half of it off. Now here, this tiny little branch here has got 2 growths, and they're both relatively strong. The fact that it's got 2 growths, I want both of them to grow, but I don't want them drawing the strength out of the rest of this branch. So I'm going to take that one back, and I'm going to take that one back a tiny little bit, only a little bit, because that's the weaker of the 2. I'll just take the tip out. Right, so coming around here, we have a little branch here all on its own, which has got a reasonable growth, but I'm just going to take the tip out because it's not growing that strong. Now here, this little branch has got 2 shoots. One's weak, one's strong. Well, if we want both of them to grow, we reduce the big one. Now, coming around here, again we have a weak new growth and a strong new growth. Well, if we want both of them to do well, they need an equal chance. Round here again, a very weak one and one that is not strong, and potentially a third one. So the fact that there's potentially a third one, that middle one is coming out quite hard. Now in theory we'll get 3 growths there, or 3 new sets of buds. That thickens this pad up quite dramatically. And then the last one over here has a back bud here, which is growing on reasonably well, and I want it to continue doing so, so I'm not going to touch it. At the end of the branch we have quite a strong candle and a weak one. I want all 3 of those to grow, so I want all 3 of them the same size. I've now evened out the energy in that branch, such that all of the sap and the energy and the sugars that are coming up into this branch will all find a place to go and won't get drawn by any individual candle that is the stronger one. You have to bear in mind with trees, there is this conceptual saying that every twig wants to be the apex of the tree. So it wants to be allowed to grow at the expense of everything behind it. And with a bonsai tree, unless you're growing a new leader deliberately, you really have got to stop that. So that's that one. I'm quite happy with the balance of that branch now. And later this year, or possibly early next year, the wire can come off. Don't need to touch this one. I've got quite a nice pad forming here. The other thing I will show you, let me just zoom back out again. Whoops, wrong way. When it's a 50-50, why do you always get the wrong one first? Right, what I just wanted to show you now, I'm not going to move the camera because everybody gets seasick. The last video I did of this was me putting the lime sulphur on this sherry and the gins. And I said the colour will change quite dramatically relatively quickly. You can see now how white it's become. Yeah? And it now has a more dramatic effect because the difference between the white and the bark is more dramatic. Yeah? Right, so I'm going to plod away with this tree. I'm going to speed up a bit now because I'm not filming because I want my tea. And yeah, so it's a thing that it can be applied, that theory that I've just talked about can be applied to deciduous trees, but it's less relevant really. With pines specifically, this business of evening out the energy so that it's distributed how you want. Now in some cases you want it evenly distributed throughout the whole tree. By saying that, you're saying my tree is how I want it, and now I just want to keep it like that. However, if you've got some branches that are not as good as others and you want to push those on, you need the energy to go into those branches to push those growths harder. And you do that by leaving those, or leaving most of them, and taking the others back so that the tree, it's all surging up the trunk, finding somewhere to go. It'll have an easy path and a hard path, and it'll always take the easy path, and that will be the path to where the growths have been left alone and not pinched back. So that's the theory, and sometimes it doesn't work. sometimes you will just get a branch that refuses to take a strong surge of energy and push itself on harder. And it's a weak branch, and it may never change. No matter what you do to the rest of the tree, that branch remains weak. That can happen, and you just have to live with it, basically. Anyway, I shall crack on, and then I'll go and get some food sorted out. So thanks for dropping by and all that, and for all those people who are supporting this relatively new channel, it is greatly appreciated. Everything you watch bumps up those watch hours. All the people who find this channel from outside that didn't join it from the Orchid Channel, which is cheating a bit, all those people who find this channel and think they might or may want to return, please subscribe. Yeah, and then when I post a new video, because these are not daily videos, these might reduce down to once a week, or you know, that's the life of bonsai. But please, if you feel obliged to do so, please subscribe and hit the old thumbs up. It all helps. And yeah, every video you watch on this channel boosts my watch hours, and I'm over a quarter of the ones needed to be able to monetize the channel. I'm well over half of the subscribers I need, but I still need those numbers to go up to be able to get to the position where this channel can actually do better for me, shall we say. Right, thanks for dropping by. See you next time.